The explosion rocked the Horizon Research Station with such force that Liam Barrett barely managed to stay on his feet. Warning klaxons blared as emergency lights bathed the corridors in pulsing crimson. The human engineer steadied himself against a bulkhead, his eyes scanning the damaged section for survivors. "Anyone here?" he called out, his voice nearly lost in the cacophony of alarms and hissing air from ruptured conduits. A weak sound drew his attention to a collapsed section where cooling pipes had fallen from the ceiling. Pushing aside debris, Liam found her, the station's lead xenobiologist. Talia Nix was pinned beneath the wreckage, her metallic blue skin shimmering under the emergency lights, silver eyes wide with pain. "Engineer Barrett," she managed, her melodic Selenian accent strained. "Something has gone terribly wrong." "That's putting it mildly," Liam replied, carefully removing the debris trapping her. "The station's been attacked. Most of the crew evacuated to the lower decks, but communications are down." As he cleared the last piece of wreckage, Liam's blood ran cold. Talia's right arm was coated in a viscous, golden substance that seemed to be rapidly crystallizing, fusing her limb to a damaged piece of laboratory equipment. "Biocompound R7, Talia explained through gritted teeth. "Experimental adhesive developed for deep space repairs." The containment unit ruptured in the blast. Liam examined the hardening substance. Already it had encased most of her forearm, binding flesh and metal together in an increasingly rigid mass. "Can't you deactivate it?" "It requires a specific electromagnetic frequency to destabilize once activated." She winced as the compound continued to spread. "The equipment needed is in the main laboratory. 3 decks up." "Which is probably space debris by now," Liam muttered, looking at the ceiling where structural integrity warnings flashed across emergency panels. Talia's silver eyes met his, resolution hardening in them. "You must sever the limb before the compound spreads further." "Not happening," Liam replied instantly, already digging through his utility belt. "Humans don't give up that easily." "This is not stubbornness, it is mathematics," Talia argued. "The compound spreads exponentially. In approximately 12 minutes, it will reach vital organs." Liam pulled out his multi-tool, extending various attachments as he examined the crystallizing substance. "What's its base composition?" "Silicate bonding with organic," she began. "In English, please." Liam interrupted, flipping through scanning modes on his tool. "It creates molecular bridges between surfaces, triggered by oxidation," Talia explained, watching him work with a mixture of confusion and curiosity. "What are you attempting?" "Everything has a weakness," Liam said, selecting a setting on his tool. "Your compound responds to electromagnetic frequencies for deactivation, right? That means it has an electrical component to its bonding structure." He carefully pressed his multi-tool against the edge of the hardened material. A soft hum emanated from the device as Liam adjusted settings, watching the reaction closely. "If I reverse the polarity and create a localized electromagnetic pulse," he muttered, more to himself than to her. Talia watched him, her expression shifting from resignation to fragile hope. "That could destabilize the molecular bridges." "Exactly," Liam nodded, continuing to make minute adjustments. "The trick is finding the right frequency without accelerating the hardening process." A distant explosion rocked the station again, sending fresh debris raining down around them. The structural integrity alarm changed tone, becoming more urgent. "We have limited time," Talia observed, her voice level despite the pain. "Station collapse is imminent." "Almost there," Liam replied, focused entirely on his work. The multi-tool's display cycled through frequencies as he tested each against the compound's reaction. Suddenly, the golden substance shimmered, its crystalline structure vibrating slightly. "That's it," Liam whispered, locking in the setting. "Hold still." He carefully ran the tool along the edge where Talia's blue skin met the hardened compound. The substance began to soften, becoming malleable once more. Talia gasped as sensation returned to her trapped limb. "It's working," she said, disbelief coloring her voice. Liam worked methodically, tracing the edge of the compound, carefully separating it from her skin without damaging the delicate scales that covered her arm. "Told you there's always another way." Most beings would have chosen expediency over experimentation, Talia observed, watching him work with intense focus. Particularly in such dire circumstances. "Well, I'm not most beings," Liam replied with a tight smile. The last of the compound fell away, leaving Talia's arm free but marked with angry silver welts where the adhesive had begun bonding to her tissue. Another explosion, closer this time, sent Liam sprawling against Talia. The station groaned around them, metal stress points shrieking in protest. "We need to move," he said, helping her to her feet. "Can you walk?" Talia tested her injured arm, flexing the fingers carefully. "Functionality is at approximately 70%. Sufficient for evacuation. The nearest emergency pods are 2 sections over," Liam said, checking his wrist display. "If they haven't been destroyed." They moved quickly through the disintegrating research station, navigating around collapsed sections and electrical fires. Through shattered viewport panels, they could see attack vessels circling the station, sleek, predatory ships with unfamiliar markings. "Pirates?" Liam asked as they ducked into a maintenance tunnel to avoid a section exposed to vacuum. Talia's expression darkened. "Perhaps. Or something worse." "What exactly were you researching here that would attract this kind of attention?" Liam asked, helping her over a fallen support beam. Before she could answer, a communication panel nearby crackled to life. Through bursts of static, fragments of messages could be heard. "Cannot allow the formula to eliminate all witnesses. Secure the Selenian researcher." Talia and Liam exchanged glances. "They're after you," Liam said. "Or your research." "Both, I suspect." Talia's silver eyes narrowed. "The compound on my arm was merely a secondary project. Our primary research was something far more valuable." "Valuable enough to destroy an entire research station?" Liam asked. Talia met his gaze steadily. "Valuable enough to change the power dynamics of 3 galactic sectors." A screeching alarm cut through their conversation as the station's automated voice announced, "Critical structural failure in 30 seconds. All personnel evacuate immediately." "Explanations later," Liam said, grabbing Talia's uninjured hand. "Run." They sprinted down the corridor as the station began to break apart around them, racing against time and pursuers unknown, bound together by circumstances neither could have predicted and a mystery that threatened to engulf them both. The escape pod bay was a scene of devastation. Twisted metal and shattered equipment greeted Liam and Talia as they finally reached what should have been their salvation. Of the 12 pods that once lined the chamber walls, only 3 remained intact, and even those showed damage from the ongoing attack. "This is not promising," Talia observed, her silver eyes scanning the room with cool efficiency despite the pain still evident in her movements. The welts on her arm had begun to darken, spreading into thin silver lines that traced up toward her shoulder. Liam moved to the nearest pod, activating the diagnostic panel. "This one's navigation system is fried. Wouldn't get us 50 kilometers before drifting aimlessly." He moved to the next, his expression grim. "Life support damaged on this one. We'd suffocate within hours." "And the third?" Talia asked, already moving toward it. "Let's find out," Liam replied, joining her at the final pod's access panel. The diagnostic readout flickered but stabilized, showing minimal damage. Power at 60%, life support functional, navigation operational but limited. "It'll get us to the nearest outpost, but that's about it." "That will suffice," Talia said, her voice tight as she leaned against the pod's frame, clearly struggling with increasing pain. Liam glanced at her arm, concern etching lines across his face. The compound left something behind, didn't it? Talia nodded once, her expression guarded. A residual effect. The molecular bridges were broken, but not without consequence. Let me see, Liam insisted, gently taking her arm. The silver lines had continued spreading, now reaching her shoulder and beginning to trace across her collarbone. This isn't good. It is manageable, Talia responded, pulling her arm away. We must focus on escape. A distant explosion rocked the station again, the lights flickering ominously. The station's AI announced over the intercom, critical hull breach detected in sectors 7 through 12. Emergency bulkheads failing. We're running out of time, Liam said, turning to prep the escape pod. As he worked, he kept talking, partly to distract himself from the dire circumstances, partly to keep Talia engaged as her condition worsened. So, you want to tell me what research was worth destroying an entire station for? Talia leaned against the wall, watching him work with those unnerving silver eyes. My people, the Selenians, evolved in a system with extreme radiation levels. Our biology developed unique cellular regeneration capabilities. I've heard the rumors, Liam nodded, running pre-launch diagnostics. Selenians can heal from injuries that would kill most species. It is more complex than mere healing, Talia continued. Our cellular structure can reconfigure itself at the molecular level. The research team here was studying applications for cross-species medical treatment. Liam paused, looking up from the control panel. You were developing a universal regeneration therapy. Yes. One that could potentially end disease and disability across known space, she confirmed. But such technology has other applications. Weapons, Liam stated flatly. Military applications. Precisely. The same therapy that could heal could also be modified to target specific genetic markers, to enhance soldiers, or even to create biological weapons of unprecedented specificity. Talia's voice remained clinical, but her eyes revealed deeper concern. There are entities who would pay unimaginable sums for such research. The pod systems hummed to life as Liam completed the startup sequence. And now they're here to collect. A new alarm blared through the station. The AI's voice, now distorted with static, announced, "Warning. Unauthorized access detected in central database. Security protocols overridden." They're downloading the research, Talia realized, pushing herself away from the wall with renewed urgency. Liam finished the final launch preparations. Pods ready. We need to. The bay doors slammed shut with a deafening clang, emergency lockdown protocols engaging automatically. Or not, Liam muttered, immediately moving to the manual override panel. He pulled off the cover, revealing a complex array of circuitry. This might take a minute. We may not have a minute, Talia warned, moving to the bay's observation window. Through it, they could see 3 ships engaged in combat, 2 attacking the station and a third, smaller vessel attempting to defend it. Station security has arrived, but they are outmatched. Liam worked quickly, rerouting circuitry and bypassing safety protocols. Almost there, he called over his shoulder. How's the arm? Deteriorating, Talia admitted, her usual composure slipping slightly. The silver lines had now spread across her chest and were beginning to trace up her neck. The residual compounds are establishing new molecular bridges within my tissue. Hang on, Liam urged, making the final connections in the override panel. The bay doors shuddered but remained closed. Something's blocking the mechanism physically. He moved to the maintenance access panel near the floor, pulling it open to reveal the door's hydraulic system. There's the problem. A piece of debris had jammed the primary piston. Liam reached in, straining to dislodge it. Engineer Barrett, Talia said suddenly, her voice taking on a new urgency. The attackers are breaking through to this section. I can see them cutting through the outer doors. "Call me Liam," he grunted, still working on the jammed mechanism. "If we're going to die together, we might as well be on a first-name basis." Despite the situation, a hint of a smile touched Talia's lips. "Liam, then. And we are not going to die." With a final effort, he dislodged the debris. The bay doors groaned and began to slide open once more. "That's the spirit," he said, quickly returning to Talia's side. "Now let's." The door on the far side of the bay exploded inward, sending shrapnel flying across the chamber. Through the smoke stepped three figures in heavy combat armor, their visored helmets revealing nothing of the beings inside. They carried advanced plasma weapons, already charged and aimed at Liam and Talia. "Selenian researcher," the central figure's mechanically filtered voice boomed. "You will surrender your research and yourself immediately." Liam stepped partially in front of Talia, his mind racing for options. The escape pod was still 10 meters away, the bay doors not yet fully open. "I'm afraid that won't be possible," Talia replied calmly, her silver eyes narrowing. "The research has been destroyed." "Lies," the armored figure responded. "Our scans indicate neural storage. The formulas are in your memory." Talia's stance shifted slightly. Liam recognized it from station security drills. She was preparing to move. "If you know of my neural capabilities, then you know what else I can do," she said, her voice taking on a dangerous edge. Before the attackers could respond, Talia lunged forward with unexpected speed, grabbing Liam and pulling him toward the partially open bay doors. The attackers fired, plasma bolts searing the air where they had stood moments before. "The pod!" Liam shouted, trying to change their direction. "No time," Talia replied, continuing toward the bay doors that opened to the station's exterior. "Trust me." To Liam's horror, Talia pulled them both through the gap in the doors and into open space. The vacuum hit him like a physical blow, the cold immediately biting through his standard station uniform. His lungs burned as his body's instinct fought against the impossibility of holding his breath in zero pressure. But then something extraordinary happened. Talia wrapped her injured arm around him, and the silvery lines that had been spreading across her skin suddenly extended to encompass him as well. A thin, translucent membrane formed over his skin, over his eyes, his mouth, creating a sealed environment. "Breathe," Talia's voice somehow reached him, though no sound should travel in vacuum. "The membrane will sustain you." Liam gasped reflexively and found that he could indeed breathe. Whatever Selenian biology Talia had extended to him was extracting oxygen from the void itself, an impossibility that he was currently too grateful for to question. They drifted away from the station, the battle continuing without them as the attackers searched frantically inside. Talia guided their trajectory with small movements, leveraging the explosive decompression that had launched them into space. "The emergency vessel," she explained, pointing to a small auxiliary craft docked at a maintenance port 200 meters away. "If we can reach it." Liam nodded, understanding. In the vacuum of space, with no resistance, their initial momentum would carry them a significant distance. He adjusted his position slightly, helping to direct their course toward the small craft. Behind them, the Horizon Research Station continued to break apart, sections decompressing and exploding in silence against the backdrop of stars. Yet in that moment of drifting through the void, connected by Talia's extraordinary biological gift, Liam felt a strange peace, as if the universe had narrowed to just the two of them, suspended between survival and oblivion. "Your arm," he managed to say through their strange connection. "You've used it to save us both." "An unexpected application of my condition," Talia replied, her silver eyes meeting his. "Perhaps there is always another way, as you humans like to say." As they drifted toward potential salvation, the stars cold and distant around them, Liam realized that whatever began in that damaged station had forged something between them, a bond as unexpected as it was unbreakable. Liam pilots their maintenance vessel away from the disintegrating research station while Talia monitors the two pursuing ships. Her condition worsens as silver tendrils spread across her body, now reaching her neck and face. They flee into the Corvus asteroid field where one pursuing ship crashes. The second continues the chase, forcing them to seek shelter in an abandoned Certeran mining facility carved into a massive asteroid. After landing inside, they prepare defenses as the pursuing ship follows them in. As they move through the facility, Talia's transformation accelerates but begins shifting from painful to energizing. The silver patterns now cover half her face in an intricate design that seems to strengthen rather than weaken her. They discover a security station where they can monitor their pursuers. Unexpectedly, a Galactic Security Forces vessel arrives, creating a three-way standoff. Liam realizes the original attack wasn't random piracy but a planned operation by someone who knew about Talia's research. They can't trust either group without knowing who's compromised. While hiding in a secondary control room, Talia reveals her transformation has reached a stable state. She demonstrates newfound abilities by interfacing directly with the facility systems through touch, bringing ancient equipment back to life. Through this connection, she discovers an old distress signal buried in the system, not from the miners, but from something they found. As the two opposing forces move from standoff to open conflict, Talia and Liam plan their escape through a maintenance shaft leading to a secondary launch bay. Before they leave, Talia reveals the true nature of her research. It wasn't just about healing, but also consciousness transfer that could potentially lead to a form of immortality. They realize this explains why so many factions are willing to kill for it, and wonder if such power should exist at all. They move toward potential escape as the facility trembles with the intensifying battle behind them, carrying knowledge that could fundamentally reshape existence. Liam and Talia find a small mining surveyor vessel in the secondary launch bay. As they prepare for launch, they discover Director Harlow, the research station security chief, entering with armed guards, revealing him as the true orchestrator behind the attack. Harlow has been playing both sides, creating the attack while positioning himself as the savior. His forces block their escape as the bay doors slowly open for launch. Talia creates a silver disc from her transformed body that Liam places on the door control mechanism, allowing her to interface remotely with the facility's systems. Talia activates the facility's hidden defense systems, creating chaos among Harlow's forces. She and Liam escape in the mining vessel during the confusion, but know they'll be pursued once Harlow regroups. As they flee, their sensors detect an enormous derelict vessel at the edge of the asteroid field. They discover this ancient ship is the source of the distress signal Talia had detected earlier. More surprisingly, the ship appears to be constructed of the same material that transformed Talia's arm. When they approach, the derelict vessel creates an entrance port for them. Inside, they find a living ship with self-illuminating surfaces and responsive architecture. When Talia touches a wall with her transformed hand, the entire chamber resonates with energy, the patterns on the ship synchronizing with those on her body. They realize Talia's research team wasn't creating something new, they were unknowingly reverse engineering technology from this ancient civilization. The ship projects star charts and coordinates, seemingly issuing a summons. Before they can process this, sensors alert them that Harlow's forces have regrouped and are pursuing them. Talia declares they cannot allow this technology to fall into unprepared hands. She fully connects with the ship's systems, initiating a profound integration between herself, her transformation, and the vessel. As Harlow's forces approach, the ancient ship awakens fully, its systems coming online with tremendous power. Talia and the vessel begin to evolve together towards something neither human nor Selenian has ever witnessed, a synthesis of biology, technology, and consciousness that transcends conventional understanding. The ancient vessel awakens fully as Talia's connection deepens. She explains to Liam that the builders of this ship had mastered the integration of biology and technology, growing rather than creating their technology. The compound that transformed her was their method of communion and connection, never intended as a weapon or medical treatment. Outside, Harlow's ships attack, but their weapons have no effect on the ancient hull, which absorbs the energy and repairs itself instantly. Talia reveals that the ship wants to return home to complete its mission, to coordinates beyond mapped space, a journey of unknown duration. She tells Liam she must go with the ship, as she is now connected to it in profound ways. To her surprise, Liam decides to join her, choosing exploration over returning to a world of conflict and power struggles. A Galactic Security Command flagship arrives, demanding Harlow's forces stand down. This creates confusion among the opposing forces, giving Talia and Liam their chance to depart. With Talia fully connected to the ship's systems, the vessel disappears from the asteroid field, leaving their pursuers behind. It transports them to unknown space using technology beyond conventional understanding, covering vast distances in moments. Talia explains that reaching their final destination will take time as the ship travels in stages. She and Liam discuss their unexpected journey and the opportunity to study knowledge from an advanced civilization. The ship detects a habitable world within sensor range and suggests they experience its environment. As they prepare for their first expedition to an unexplored planet, Liam and Talia embrace their new partnership, one that transcends species, biology, and conventional understanding. The ancient vessel carries them forward with patient purpose, resuming its journey of exploration after centuries of waiting for the right companions. Together, they face the unknown as pioneers of a new understanding where differences become strengths and transformation offers possibilities rather than limitations.